to join so that we have a quorum. And Alderman Dowell is patiently waiting. I'd like to make sure that we can begin the meeting so she can go on about her day. Okay, there's Commissioner Cox. I need
Commissioner Davis was a yes on the invite. Commissioner Gomez. Commissioner McKibben and Commissioner Thomas. Does anybody hear that?
Yes, I don't see any of those commissioners in the attendees. So all the commissioners that are on right now have been promoted to panelists.
Okay.
Are we recording yet?
Yes, we are.
Are you able to reach out to Commissioner Davis? It looks like we only need one more for quorum.
Yeah, we only need one more for quorum.
Okay. I will go on mute.
A tech support staff member, Nelson Chung, is in the attendees. He needs to be promoted to, he should be promoted to a panelist. Okay, it appears that we have a quorum. I believe that Secretary Grace Chan McKibben has joined us.
Yep.
So I will begin the meeting. Thank you very much. Good afternoon and welcome to the April 11, 2023 regular meeting of the Community Development Commission of Chicago. I am Gwendolyn Hatton Butler, Chairwoman of the CDC and host of today's virtual meeting. On February 3rd, Governor Pritzker renewed his executive order proclaiming that all counties in the state of Illinois as a disaster area. Section 7 of the Illinois Open Meetings Act allows the CDC, along with other city boards and commissions, to host virtual meetings during this COVID-19 public health emergency, provided that certain conditions are met. One condition allows the chair of this commission to determine if an in-person meeting on the scheduled meeting date would not be practical or prudent. To ensure that today's virtual meeting meets all conditions of the Open Meetings Act, I am hereby making the determination pursuant to Section 7E2 of the Act that due to the COVID-19 public health emergency, an in-person meeting would not have been practical or prudent today. Therefore, in accordance with the Commission's emergency rules, this meeting is being held virtually on Zoom and can be viewed live via the Commission's website. A court reporter is present today to record the proceedings. Commissioners, you have all been designated as panelists, which allows you to control your microphone. Please remember to place your microphone on mute unless you wish to speak. If you would like to be recognized by the chair, please activate the raise your hand feature and you will be called in order. And that is particularly important with today's meeting. I'm traveling and operating on personal devices. And so I really need to see the raise your hand because I don't have a full screen of all the commissioners. So I appreciate your patience if it takes me a while to get to you today. The agenda for today's meeting was posted on April 6th on the CDC's website and physically in City Hall. I will now call to order the April 11th meeting of the Community Development Commission with a call of the roll. Commissioners, when your name is called, please turn your microphone on and respond by saying present, and please also indicate that you can hear me. Vice Chair Wheat. Secretary Chan McKibben.
Yes, and I can hear you.
Commissioner Buford. Commissioner Cox.
Yes, I can see and hear you.
Commissioner Curtis.
Yes, I can see and hear you.
Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Gomez. Commissioner Griggs. Commissioner Thomas.
President, I can see and hear you.
Thank you very much. We have a quorum. The first item on our agenda, request approval of the minutes from our previous meeting held on March 14th, 2023. The commissioners have had an opportunity to review the minutes, and if there are no corrections, I am looking for a motion to approve. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Secretary Chan McKibben. Do I have a second? Do I have a second?
Seconded by Commissioner Cox.
Thank you, Commissioner Cox. In accordance with the Open Meetings Act, all votes are to be conducted by roll call so that each member's vote on each issue can be identified and recorded. Commissioners, please signify your vote on approval of the motion by saying yes, no, or abstain. If you were not in attendance during the March 14th, 2023 meeting, please abstain from this vote. Vice Chair Wheat. Secretary Chan McKibben.
Yes.
Commissioner Buford. Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Curtis.
Abstain.
Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Gomez. Commissioner Griggs. Commissioner Thomas.
Abstain.
And Chair Butler votes yes. The minutes are approved. We have published an agenda, and our first item of new business will not be item A that's posted on the agenda. At the request of the department and Alderman Dow, we will consider item C on the agenda first. So just so that give everyone a moment to get oriented here. Commissioners, for the first item of business, DPD is seeking authority to advertise its intention to enter into a negotiated sale with Deeply Rooted Productions for the disposition of properties located at 5345 South State Street in the 47th Street State Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project area, to request alternative proposals, and to approve the sale of the property to Deeply Rooted Productions if no responsible alternative proposals are received. Justin Peterson will provide a brief description of this on behalf of the Department of Planning and Development.
Good afternoon,
Justin,
Chairman.
you may begin.
Thank you, and members of the commission. My name is Justin Peterson. I'm an architect and city planner at in the Southeast Planning Region for the Department of Planning and Development, and I'm here today to request the Community Development Commission's authorization of DPD to proceed with the land write-down sale and to negotiate a redevelopment agreement with Deeply Rooted Productions Incorporated, and to recommend to City Council the designation of Deeply Rooted Productions Incorporated as the developer of two city-owned PINs located at 5339 and 5345 South State Street in the 47th and State Street redevelopment area. The project is in the 3rd Ward, represented by Alderman Pat Dowell, who's in attendance today. It's also in the Washington Park community area, and again, the 47th and State redevelopment area. Deeply Rooted Productions is proposing a $15.6 million 2-story dance studio and performance facility with supporting workshop and office space. The project team has filed for a Type 1 rezoning from N1-2 to B3-2 and anticipates a hearing in May. Transit served location allows for parking reduction to 0 with an administrative adjustment, and the site plan allocates 5 parking spaces. Deeply Rooted is also negotiating with Exodus Tennis Foundation, located across the street, to use their service parking lot for overflow parking during performances. property is appraised at $260,000. DPD is proposing a land write-down sale for $1 per parcel or $2 total. This being a nonprofit organization and a community cultural institution. DPD published a notice for this land sale actually on in the Chicago Tribune on February 15th, 21st, and March 1st, 2023, and no proposals or alternatives were received. The project team includes the applicant, Deeply Rooted Productions Incorporated, is an Illinois nonprofit organization formed by Deeply Rooted Dance Theater for the purposes of developing this project. They've partnered with Mr. Ronald M. Gatton, who has more than 40 years of development experience in the private sector. Mr. Gatton provides consultant services for nonprofit community development corporations and has worked with most recently with St. Edmunds Redevelopment Corporation to develop more than 750 units of mixed income housing and bring more than $105 million of investment in the Washington Park area. Deeply Rooted is also working with architect Phil Johnson and his firm Johnson & Lee as the designers of the project. The applicant's attorney is Steve Friedland of Applegate Thorne Thompson. Deeply Rooted has also selected All Construction Group, which is an MBE certified general contractor founded in 1959. All Construction is the largest mason contractor in the Chicago area and has completed projects for the Public Building Commission, Chicago Cub, Chicago Housing Authority, Metra, as well as public and private clients. The project is located at 54th and South State Street, 1 block north of Garfield Boulevard or 55th Street, and across the street from the Excess Tennis Foundation and Training Center. The project is located less than a half mile from the 55th Green and Red Line stations. Project team is, again, as mentioned, filed for a type 1 rezoning and anticipates a hearing in May. And again, will provide 5 parking spaces on site. These street views illustrate the current site conditions, which is a vacant lot that has been used recently for some parking and truck storage. The site, again, sits across the street from the Excess Tennis facility, which is pictured lower left here. The new dance theater building will help frame the area and the evolving Excess Tennis campus as a neighborhood cultural center. Excess Tennis was here recently at CDC as well and is continuing to build out their campus. The proposed building hugs the property line on all sides. The primary entrance is on 54th Street with a lobby space opening onto South State Street at the corner and a small parking and loading area opposite corner northeast in the rear. And that's located off the alley. There's also a small courtyard at the center of the building framed by circulation and pre-function spaces. This is a more detailed ground floor plan. The ground floor will house 19,000 square feet of the proposed 33,000 square foot program, again, including entry spaces, 2 large dance studio spaces, and a grand dance studio space that will also double as a performance space. And then, of course, there are back of house support services between the dance studios themselves. Level 2 is largely open to below and houses smaller dance studios and a conference room and other back of house spaces. And then the roof level plan, this has a small event space and an occupiable terrace as well as green roofs. This slide illustrates the west elevation on State Street. DPD worked with the applicant to introduce more transparency and translucency on the exterior and to improve the public realm and encourage a relationship between the interior and the exterior program, or the interior programming and the exterior street front. The building would be primarily composed of tilt-up concrete panels, which is the gray, as well as metal and glass. And what you see kind of the half to the right here is all glass, modulating between fully transparent and some translucent glass in the dance studio space. This slide illustrates the south elevation on 54th Street. This includes the main building entry again and a screen printed signage element just above that. This slide illustrates some interior renderings of the double height dance studio spaces and the small courtyard again at the center of the building. Sources and uses of funds, 18% of the project will be financed by the development team's equity and donations from various foundations. 13% will be financed by bridge loans, 17% by new market tax credits, and the remaining 53% by state and city grants. The Department of Planning and Development has thoroughly reviewed the proposed project, its financial structure, the project's benefits, public benefits, and its conformance with the redevelopment area plan. and the development team's qualifications. The project will meet the following planning goals for the department. It will bring $15.6 million of investment to an historically divested community. It will redevelop 2 vacant city-owned parcels and return them to the tax roll. It will create an estimated 52 construction jobs and 60 full-time jobs, as well as 150 part-time production jobs. It will create a new cultural amenity and performance space adjacent to the Excess Tenants Foundation and catalyze redevelopment near State Street and Garfield Boulevard. Alderman Pat Dowell has provided a letter of support for the project, and a community meeting was held on March 16th, just about a month ago of 2023. DPD requests your approval to enter into the redevelopment agreement with Deeply Rooted Productions and to recommend them to City Council as the developer of these 2 city-owned pins at 5339 and 5335 South State Street to develop this dance studio building. Please refer to the staff report for additional details. The development team and city staff are happy now to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Justin. I would now like to recognize Alderman Dow and invite her to make a statement on this project.
Thank you, Chairman and members of the Community Development Commission. Please excuse me for not having my video on. I am patiently awaiting to get outside to the beach, and but wanted to be here today because this project is very, very important to me and to the Washington Park community. We are so happy that Deeply Rooted Production Inc. has decided to invest in this community, especially along this part of State Street where we've enjoyed the success of Excess Tennis, along with the rejuvenation of Ace Technical High School. This particular investment means a lot to the community because it's just another cultural amenity, something that we need and something that will promote our youth and be a benefit to the surrounding area. I want to thank the Department of Planning and Development, Justin, Tim, Terrence, Chris Jang, Commissioner Cox for their support of this project, and would ask that the commission look favorably upon this development. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Dow. We appreciate you joining us today. Can I ask tech support, can you give me the full screen of participants, the panelists, please? I can only, thank you. Bob McKenna, can you confirm that there were no written statements submitted for this meeting or for this agenda item? Or can anyone from the department confirm that there were no written statements submitted for this agenda item?
There were no written statements for this agenda item.
Thank you very much. Given that there were no written statements from the public, I now move to questions from the commissioners. Commissioners, Justin Peterson is joined today by Makita Creighton of Deeply Rooted Productions, and both are available to help answer your questions. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Commissioner Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. This sounds like it's going to be an awesome project for the community and Alderman Dow's ward. I do have a question about the 53% being in grants, and when will the timing? I was looking to see when is the timing of the development and how long are the grants in play?
Thank you, Commissioner. So the bulk of the grant, the city grant, is really the Chicago Recovery Grant, and we expect to have a result of their application by the end of the month. So the timeline on this, that's kind of the final piece. It's a big piece, but with that in hand, everything should fall in line, and we would hope to then proceed with introduction by early summer. June or July.
Madam Chair. And also, assuming everything falls into place the way on the timeline that you just described, when would construction start?
This is Justin Peterson again with DPD. I would defer to Makeda on that question, but I believe we were targeting, if not the end of the year, early next year.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. Are there other members of the commission that have questions? And tech support, I need to see the commissioners, please. Tech support, can you confirm, do any of the commissioners have their hands raised?
I don't see any hand raised, Chairwoman.
I can't quite, my hand feature, is it going up? Yes.
Yes, I can see you now.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to, I'm actually anxious to hear from the applicant. I've been following this project for some time. They have come to a number of community events and spoken very passionately about the role of arts and culture. So I'm very proud to support this as a part of the Invest Southwest initiative to not just reanimate the commercial corridors, but to kind of expand the offerings so that arts and culture offerings are as plentiful as they are in other parts of the city. So whenever an organization decides to build their own home, they are making, quite frankly, a multi-generational investment in Bronzeville. If you own it, you are preserving that cultural amenity for many, many people to come. So this is a big step. I really appreciate the fact that they have clustered their cultural offering in close proximity to Excess Tennis, so that you can start to see how one will begin to complement and amplify the other. The fact that Excess Tennis has excess parking allows them to build out their site and not have to have vast parking lots to accommodate the performers as well as the audience. So all around, this is such a positive development, and I'm just thrilled that the organization persevered and that the city could be a part of helping not only to write down on the land, but also a pivotal grant that gets them to their finish line. So I can't wait not only to cut the ribbon, but to see many, many performances at this new institution. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cox. And I believe, Makeda Creighton, I believe that Commissioner Cox has called for you to have the microphone, so to speak. So we're going to give you a few minutes to, make a statement if you so choose to the commission regarding this, I will say, marvelous project.
Thank you, Commissioner Cox. Thank you to the entire commission. I am pleased, and listening to you speak just now warmed my heart. This has truly been a journey and a labor of love for everyone on the Deeply Rooted team. We are looking to build a facility that will not only provide arts and dance instruction and performance to the community, but will also allow us as human beings on the South Side to experience each other in our own communities in a way that will promote love, that will promote a sense of sharing and belonging and a sense of ownership within our community. So we're proposing to build this center that will not only have dance instruction, but it'll also have a community garden on the rooftop. It will also have programming that will introduce community theater into the neighborhood. And the community theater program that we are looking to propose and to start this summer is entitled Creative Communities. And it's about us getting out into the neighborhood where we are building and getting to know the stories of the people who have lived there for generations. And then combining those stories together in a theatrical way so that those community members can find the artists inside of them and be able to share it with each other. We're inviting them to come join us on the stage. We're inviting them to be support behind the stage. We're inviting them into every level and aspect of the process in order to create relationship building. And it's through relationship building that we then learn how to improve and develop the communities that we live in. So this building will not only help our youth, but it has multi-generational programming as well, so that the youth start to get in touch with our elders, so that the separation that sometimes we find between the older generation that has been around and the younger generation becomes that it breaks down. And so we're hoping that through creative processes and creative exercises that we find the commonalities that we have between us all to be able to, as a community, grow, as a community, improve, and hopefully make the South Side the powerful cultural hub that it once was again. So thank you for your support. We have been through this process, or we've been journeying through this process for almost 2 years now. It has helped to sharpen us as an organization, and we hope that all the tools that we've garnered along this process will help us to build a better South Side.
Well, thank you so much for your comments. And just for the records, if you could introduce yourself formally.
Absolutely.
Which I forgot to ask you to do before you made your remarks.
My name is Makeda Creighton, and I am the Executive Director of Deeply Rooted Productions. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Makeda, for letting us put you on the spot like that. It was a very powerful statement from my perspective. Commissioners, are there any additional comments or questions from members of the commission? If there are no further questions from the commission, I would now like to invite members of the public who have used the raise your hand feature to be recognized. Each person I call upon to speak will be limited to 3 minutes for this item. And Kamal, can you let me know if any members of the public have raised their hand to speak?
No hands raised, Chair.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. If there are no further questions or comments regarding the matter before us, I will now call this item C on the published agenda to a vote. The resolution before us, the Department of Planning and Development is seeking authority to advertise its intention to enter into a negotiated sale with Deeply Rooted Productions for the disposition of properties located at 5345 South State Street in the 47th State Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project area, to request alternative proposals and to approve the sale of the property to Deeply Rooted Productions if no responsive alternative proposals are received. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Latasha Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. Do I have a second?
Second, Grace Chan McKibben.
Thank you, Secretary Chan McKibben. In accordance with the Open Meetings Act, all votes are to be conducted by roll call so that each member's vote on each issue can be identified and recorded. Commissioners, please signify your vote on approval of the motion by saying yes, no, or abstain. Vice Chair Wheat. Secretary Chan McKibben.
Yes.
Commissioner Buford. Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Curtis.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Gomez.
Yes.
Commissioner Griggs. Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
And Chair Butler votes yes, the motion passes. Commissioners, I will now ask you to turn your attention to the first item on the published agenda, which is item A. Commissioners, for our next item of new business, the Department of Planning and Development is requesting that CDC accepts for review the amended redevelopment plan for the proposed Northwest Industrial Corridor Area Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project Area Amendment Number 4. As part of this request, the department is also seeking to set May 4th as the date for the public meeting of the Joint Review Board and to set June 13th as the date of the public hearing convened at the CDC meeting to review the proposed TIF amendment. On March 31st, DPD placed a copy of the proposed amendment to the Northwest Industrial Redevelopment Plan and eligibility report on file with the City Clerk's office for review by the public. Additionally, Commissioners, each of you have received an electronic copy of the updated documents from DPD directly. Since this action is merely to accept these documents and set a date for public meetings, there will be no presentation at this time. DPD staff will, however, provide a full presentation on the proposed Fourth Amendment of the Northwest Industrial TIF District at the June 13th, 2023 meeting of the Community Development Commission. As no written statements have been submitted on this item, I will call this item for a vote. The resolution before us would accept for review the amended redevelopment plan for the proposed Northwest Industrial Corridor Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project Area, Amendment Number 4, and set May 4th as the date for the public hearing of the Joint Review Board, and to set June 13th, 2023 as the date of the public hearing convened at the CDC meeting to review the proposed TIF amendment. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Thomas.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. Okay, thank you, Commissioner Thomas, for moving the motion, and thank you, Commissioner Gomez, for seconding the motion. In accordance with the Open Meetings Act, all votes are to be conducted by roll call so that each member's vote on each issue can be identified and recorded. Commissioners, please signify your vote on approval of the motion by saying yes, no, or abstain. Vice Chair Wheat, Secretary Chan McKibben.
Yes.
Commissioner Buford, Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Curtis.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Gomez.
Yes.
Commissioner Griggs, Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
And Chair Butler votes yes. The motion passes. Commissioners, for the next item of business, CDOT is seeking authority to acquire all or part of 30 properties located in the proposed right-of-way for Burley Avenue and Carondelet Avenue between East 106th Street and East 126th Place in the Lake Calumet Industrial and 116th Street Avenue O Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project areas. Solomon Kudira will provide a brief description of this item on behalf of the Department of Transportation.
Good afternoon, Chairman Butler and members of the Commission. For the record, my name is Suleiman Kudera. I am a Section Chief with CDOT's Division of Engineering. The resolution before you is requesting your recommendation to the City Council authorizing the City of Chicago, CDOT, to acquire the properties needed for this roadway project. The proposed project is Burley Avenue improvement from 106th Street to 126th Place. The project location, the project extends from 106th Street on the north to 126 Place on the south. It is a 3 miles roadway. The roadway today practically doesn't exist, only in small portions. Some portions doesn't exist, and some others are just a gravel part of the road. So the proposed project is to construct Burley Avenue from 106 to 126. Part of this project is already constructed or being constructed by a private developer, that's North Point Development. There have been extensive coordination between NPD, CDOT, and DPD, and we're still coordinating with the developer. Last year, they completed part of this area that's shown in blue. They completed part of.
Actually, there is no screen sharing. At least I don't see a presentation.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you very much. And now?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Thank you very much. Okay, so again, let me just start very quickly. The Burley Avenue project is from 106 to 126. And the location, that's what I was going over. The project is a 3 miles roadway, extends from 106 Street on the north to 126 Place on the south. Part of this project, and that's what I was referring to, is this area that's shown in blue. Part of it is already constructed by the developer, North Point Development. They built last year this part of the project, 122nd Street, and they built also this part of Burley. And they are very close to starting the remaining part of their work, which is again shown in blue, 122nd and part of Burley up to 117th Street. The remaining part, which is shown in red color, that's the CDOT portion that we are currently in the design stage. So CDOT will be constructing from 117th Burley Avenue all the way to 106th Street, and also those two segments, completing Burley Avenue to 126, and also constructing, widening this part of the road, which is Carondelet Avenue. The project located in 3 community areas, that's area 51, and part of the project is highlighted in 51. Community area 52, that's the other part of the road. And in community area 55, that is this portion of Burley Avenue. TIF district, there are 2 TIF districts that the project falls within. Those are the Lake Calumet, shown in amber color, and that portion of the project falls in the Lake Calumet area. And the other part of it, you can see here the end of the project, part of it is in the 116th Avenue O TIF development area. We are not using any TIF fund. The CDOT is not using any TIF fund to construct the project. The next slide is the project needs. As I mentioned, the project does not today exist. 126 does not connect with 106. Only small portion of the project exists in a gravel area or doesn't exist practically. The new project will connect 106 Street to 126 Place, and that's a total of 3 miles roadway. The project is needed. It will make a truck route, will create a truck route connecting 106 Street to 126 Place. Currently, industries located east of the Calumet River, they have limited access to access their industries from side street. Sometimes there are flooding issues. So this project will provide much better access to those existing industries. We also expect, as a result of building this project, will attract new industries into the area, which is a win-win for everybody. The other advantage is also will be a truck route, and the trucks will be driving on Burley Avenue not any longer on Avenue O. And Avenue O is it's most part of it mostly is residential, and you can imagine heavy trucks traveling on residential area. There are noise issues, environmental issue. So this project will alleviate many of the accessibility issues, environmental noise, traffic noise, and others. The next slides are the proposed improvement that I just showed you in the overall plan. Again, the red area is what CDOT will be constructing. The blue areas is what the developer has either constructed or in the process of continue the construction. So starting with this one, again, this is 126 place. This is a segment on Carondelet from 126 to 122nd Street that will be constructed by CDOT next year. This is in the process. This will be constructed by North Point Development this year, 122nd Street. Moving into to the Burleigh Avenue corridor, that's 126 place, and this will be widened and reconstructed by CDOT. This portion here is already there. It's already developed, constructed by NPD. It's already built. And continue moving north. Again, this one, the blue is by the developer. This was already built. And this is already in the process of being built this year by the developer. And moving further north, the developer will build also part of 118th Street, again, to provide access for their development and also for the industries west of Burleigh, east of the Calumet River. And CDOT will pick up this point, which is 117th Street, and will be constructing this portion shown in red, and also moving north, we'll be constructing that. And then at the end, we will connect 126 to 106 Street, shown on the right-hand side. At 106, to connect Burleigh, we had to create this type of an S-curve, and we utilized an existing right-of-way, city right-of-way, which is Buffalo Avenue, to be able to connect to 106. There is, I didn't mention that there is a railroad, Norfolk Southern Railroad, running parallel to the entire length of Burleigh Avenue, just to the west of Burleigh. Part of the project also will be improving this part of 106 Street. Next slide is project funding. We have 1.5 million that was already used. It's federal and state, and that was used for phase 1 design. That's the preliminary engineering that's already completed. And then we are currently in phase 2 design. That's the final engineering, or also we call it detailed engineering and construction. The phase 2 and construction will be funded via Rebuild Illinois funds. So again, we are not using, CDOT is not using any TIF funds. The next slides are the properties to be acquired. And we have 4 types of properties. The first one is full take, and those are properties or vacant lands that we need the entire parcel. There are 4 of them. One of them only has a building, industrial building, commercial building, and the remaining 3 are vacant land, but we do need them, as will be shown, to construct Burleigh Avenue. The second type is partial take, PT, and in this type of property acquisition, we only take a strip, very small strip of the land. The third type is temporary easement, TE. TE is a property acquisition only during construction, and at the end of the construction, we turn it back to the owner. And then the last one is PE, that's permanent easement. It's a property that the current owner retains ownership of the property. However, the city will be only acquiring an easement for to build a driveway or a bicycle lane, pathway, or in sometimes for utility easement that we do need to have the permanent easement. The statistics of the land in the bottom, it shows, as I mentioned, it's 4 full take properties. There are 26 properties, either partial take or temporary easement or permanent easement. There are 16 private owners. We already sent them certified letters included in the staff report. And one of the properties is owned by the city. And then all properties, as I mentioned, they are vacant land, except one of them only has a building that needs to be acquired. And those slides show some details of the properties that we will need to acquire. So the areas that's shown in purple color are partial take. The areas shown in blue, the legend is here. In blue is full take. Green is temporary easement, TE, and in orange is permanent easement. So here is a small orange area that we needed for utilities, drainage issues. This strip of land we also partial take. It's very narrow, it's only 7 feet wide. We need from the adjacent owner. Those are triangles at the corner of 126 and Carondelet. We needed to improve turning movements and utility installation at that intersection. And the green areas, all of them are temporary easement needed only during construction. And moving north, the same thing, we're still along Carondelet and showing in different colors the properties that's needed. Moving to the Burleigh Avenue corridor, we will need this land, which is 22 feet just east of the existing Burleigh Avenue, to be able to widen the road, install a mixed-use path for bicycle pedestrians and utilities. And then moving north, the same thing, that's this segment. At this point, the developer already developed and built this S-curve. Actually, it's already on Google Earth, Google Maps. Here, as I mentioned, there is a Norfolk Southern Rail just west of Burleigh Avenue, and we will need those small shapes from them to be able for the city to maintain the road, to maintain the mixed-use path, the bicycle path for maintenance purposes. And moving north, we don't need land from here. The city already owns the land from 117th going north, so there are no acquisition needed, fortunately, on this part. The area south of 117th, this is 117th Street, south of 117th, that's by the developer, and already the right-of-way is part of the development of NPD, North Point Development. And moving north up to here, we don't need any land. From 116 going north, we will need to acquire this entire piece of land from the adjacent owner. So the city doesn't own any corridor, any parcels north of 116th, up to this part here. And the city again owns part 66 feet. So we need to buy only a strip of land that's 14 feet to build the roadway. Now we are at 112 Street, again going north. We need only a strip of land, 114, that's partial take, 1/10, and then keep going north. And the same thing here, we will be acquiring this. Those are mostly city lands, not all of them, but some of them are owned by the city. Those are by private owner, vacant land. So we will be needing to acquire that much from the adjacent owner. And then going to the last segment, which is, again, Burleigh Avenue. The city does own the right-of-way here, but to build this curve and connect Burleigh to 106, we will need to acquire this entire parcel, and that's the only parcel that has an existing commercial building that we will be acquiring to build the road. And those also will need to acquire all those lands, but all of those are vacant land. There are no structures. The only one that has a structure on the parcel is this one. Just to finish this one, also we will need a partial take from this owner, temporary easement, and temporary easement shown in green. from the driveway entrance owned by businesses and Norfolk Southern. We coordinated with them. And the last one is this strip of land on the north side of 106 to be able to widen 106 and install bicycle lanes as much as possible on this segment. And then, so that concludes the right-of-way details. Now, as far as the schedule of the project, phase 1 engineering, preliminary engineering already completed. We are currently in phase 2. We are on schedule to complete the phase 2 by first quarter of 2024. And then CDOT is on schedule to start construction by end of 2024 and complete all of this important corridor by end of 2025. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Solomon. Could you speak to aldermanic support for this proposal?
Yes, we have been coordinating with Alderman Garza. She is on board. She is very familiar with the project. We have also held public meetings, public hearing with the community, and the community is in full support of the project.
Thank you. Do you know if Alderman Garza or anyone from her office is present at today's meeting?
I don't know. I don't know, Commissioner.
All right. And I don't see anyone that's identified themselves as being with her office, and I don't see her on in the participant list.
She has been in close coordination with us at CDOT, the developer, and she's on support of the project.
All right, thank you. Can DPD confirm whether or not there were written statements submitted for this agenda item? I have not received any written statements. I just want to confirm that there are none.
There are none.
All right, thank you. Commissioners, no written statements from the public were submitted on this matter, so now we can move to questions from the commission. Commissioner Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I have a few questions. I'll start with to the department, to CDOT. Are there two parcels in use, or is it just one parcel? I thought I saw one for recreational and one for commercial use.
Yes, thank you. There is one parcel that has a building on it, so that's the first one that's in use. And you are correct, the other one is recreational, which is part of a baseball park. So we identify it as in use. But we are not impacting the park. We are only taking a part of it on the west side of the park. All the other, the remaining are vacant.
Okay, so you're not taking I thought the recreational parcel was part of the taking.
It's partial taking.
Okay. And then the other list that kind of confused me is in our presentation, there are 17 industrial or commercial parcels. Are those vacant?
They are all vacant, but we were asked to identify, are they residential or are they industrial? They are vacant lands, and we are only acquiring part of it as a partial take.
Okay.
They are.
And then, Madam Chair, my last question is the eminent domain acquisition will be part of phase 2 in the construction phase, and that's funded by the Rebuild Illinois funds. Is that correct?
We are. Is the question to me?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, we are using Rebuild Illinois funds, and we will be asking for quick take eminent domain as needed, if needed.
Well, yeah, we're giving you permission to acquire this, and so there will be something that you pay out, and that's coming out of the Rebuild Illinois?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. Commissioner Gomez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think I was trying to look up quickly the developer. They seem to be an out-of-state developer. Did they identify already the builder? Or are they doing the building? Have they committed to the MWBE and workforce goals?
The developer is North Point Development. They already started the building, and they build 3-4 buildings. And I don't want to speak on their behalf, but I'm assuming they're meeting the regulations as far as DBE and BE.
Is there anyone on that can confirm that, or just?
Yeah, this is Terrence Johnson, Assistant Commissioner with Financial Incentives. We actually do have an RDA with North Point Development for that development there. So they are bound by MBE, WBE, prevailing wage, and a city residency on that as well. That came through the body probably in 2018-ish. Mm-hmm. So that RDA has been in place for a while.
Great. And then who's the actual contractor, the GC? Is it North Point Development? They're the GC as well?
I think it is. I'd have to go back and try to pull that up. But I think I don't remember. I'd have to get that to you through the chair.
And if you are asking, Commissioner, if you are asking for the roadway, they hired a contractor for the roadway. For the buildings, I am not sure. We don't deal with the buildings.
For the roadway, correct. So that goes through CDOT? Would that have gone through CDOT?
It did not. The RDA, and I don't want to speak on behalf of the RDA, the DPD coordinated and negotiated the RDA, but we at CDOT supervise, inspect the developer work, the contractor work, making sure that they are compliant with the plans that they submitted. But we do not payment for the contractor. It doesn't come from CDOT. It comes from the RDA.
And Solomon, just to clarify, because I think there might be some cross questioning here. Are you referring to the construction of the roadway for the properties that's owned and controlled by the developer, or are you referring to construction for the roadway that is the subject of today's action?
I was referring to the roadways that the developer is building, which we refer to as Burley Avenue. The developer is building that portion of Burley Avenue in accordance with the design standard plans that we reviewed at CDOT, and we make sure that the developer is complying with those plans and CDOT standards.
And has the construction company been selected for the construction of the roadway that's subject to today's action?
Yes, they have been constructing. They constructed at least half of the blue area that I was showing. And yes, the answer is yes. They do have the developer hired a contractor, and they're already on board.
No, I'm referring to the construction of the roadway that's subject to today's action.
It's my understanding that they already have a contractor. Yes,
Commissioner, I'd like to help answer that question.
Yes,
with Deputy Commissioner with Division of Engineering at CDOT. I believe you're requesting information on the parcels that are currently in development with North Point Development, and a contractor has been selected, as Solomon had mentioned, for that work. But for today's decision, a contractor has not been selected. This is still plans are still under development, and we have not moved forward with the construction.
Okay, great. Thank you for that clarification. Wanted to make sure that it was clear that no construction, no decisions have been made regarding the construction manager and who's actually doing the work for the items that are in front of the commission today, for the actions that are in front of the commission today.
Yes, that is correct.
All right, great. Commissioner Gomez, do you have further questions?
No, just to want to make sure, and thank you for adding to that, Madam Chair. Yes, I think it was making sure, since if it wasn't going through CDOT, that there still will be the, you know, diversity goals for both workforce and residency and diversity on this project, and there was going to be some oversight on that. So it sounds like CDC or what department will be doing that if it's not CDOT? That's why I just want to make sure. Who's verifying compliance and the diversity?
So this is Terrence Johnson again within DPD. So as part of our RDA, which did include the developer's portion of the road work, that is going through our normal compliance process through DPD, as well as the Department of Housing, their construction compliance team, which is what monitors all of the items that you see here, gets monitored through their DOH's construction compliance team.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Commissioner Gomez, any additional questions?
No, thank you. Thank you, Madam.
No, thank you, Commissioner Gomez. Commissioner Curtis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Did I understand correctly that there is just one structure that is affected?
Yes, that's right. All the parcels that we are acquiring are vacant land, yes, except one.
Okay, and that structure, can you tell us about it? Is it a vacant structure? Is it currently in use?
Commissioner, it has been, this project has been under design for a good number of years, and it's our information that this building sometimes is in use and sometimes it goes out of business. As of today, we don't know, but if it is in use, we need it and we have to acquire it.
How long has this been under consideration? Has the owner known about this pending eminent domain?
We started it since 2011. That when we had public meetings. We also have in 2014 we had public hearings. So the information has been disseminated to the public.
And that includes knowledge that this eminent domain would be pending.
Yes, we did show in those public hearings the same drawing that I showed today. So it has been there, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Curtis, any additional questions?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further questions from members of the commission? If there are no further questions or comments from members of the commission, I'd now like to invite members of the public who have used the raise your hand feature to be recognized. Each person I call upon to speak will be limited to 3 minutes per agenda item. Tech support, can you let me know if any members of the public have raised their hand to speak?
No hands raised, Chairwoman.
Thank you. If there are no further questions or comments regarding the matter before us, I will now call the item to a vote. The resolution before us requests from the Department of Transportation is seeking authority to acquire all or part of 30 properties located in the proposed right-of-way for Burleigh Avenue and Carondelet Avenue between East 106th Street and East 126th Place in the Lake Calumet Industrial and 116th Street Avenue O tax increment financing redevelopment project areas. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Curtis.
Thank you, Commissioner Curtis. Do I have a second?
Second, Thomas.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. Seconded by Commissioner Thomas. In accordance with the Open Meetings Act, all votes are to be conducted by roll call so that each member's vote on each issue can be identified and recorded. Commissioners, please signify your vote on approval of the motion by saying yes, no, or abstain. Vice Chair Wheat, Secretary Chan McKibben.
Yes.
Commissioner Buford. Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Curtis.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Gomez.
Yes.
Commissioner Griggs. Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
And Chair Butler votes yes. The motion passes. Commissioners, for the last item of business, DPD is seeking authority to advertise its intention to enter into a negotiated sale with Alonzo Williams for the disposition of property located at 3865 South Lake Park Avenue in the Madden Wells Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project area, to request alternative proposals and to approve the sale of the property to Alonzo Williams if no alternative proposals are received. Nelson Chung will provide a brief description of this agenda item on behalf of the Department of Planning and Development.
Thank you, Chairman Butler and members of the commission. For the record, my name is Nelson Chung. I'm with the Department of Planning and Development. The proposed project is the market sale of 3865 South Lake Park Avenue to Alonzo Williams. The city parcel located in the Madden Wells TIF redevelopment area. Community Development Commission approval is required because of the sale located within this redevelopment area. This summary slide provides an overview of the land sale project. Purchaser again is Mr. Alonzo Williams, who currently is a resident of Avalon Park. He and his wife, Raquel Williams, has family roots in Bronzeville neighborhood and seeking to acquire the city lot to construct a new single-family residence for themselves. The appraised value for the city lot is $144,600, which is the purchase price. The current zoning of property is RM-5. The applicant intends to utilize Bertley Lighter Construction as their builder to construct this new single-family residence. And environmental phase 1 and phase 2 was performed on the property and since been reviewed by the Department of Assets and Information Services. AIS is required that sale terms include enrolling a site in the Illinois EPA site remediation program. Sale proceeds will be deposited in environmental escrow at the time of closing and utilized by the purchaser to pay for environmental cleanup. The above map shows the location of the disposition parcels within the Oakland community area. You can tell from this map that the property is approximately 1 block north of Pershing, just off of Lakeshore Drive, and to the east of Mandrake Park. This is a map of the Madden Wells TIF redevelopment area with a red kind of bullet point showing the location of it within the TIF redevelopment area. The aerial map shows the location of the property. And then this parcel map shows the location of the property highlighted in yellow. To the south of the property, we should note is a water reclamation district open space which contains underground utilities as part of the stormwater tunnels. The above site plan shows the sale parcel outlined in red. Plans are a continued development of a single family home to the remainder of the block to the north, which we should notice it's not subject to this action, but subject of a later CDC action later this year. This slide is a rendering of the proposed single family residence. Front facade incorporates red brick, incorporates brick and limestone wrapped around the sides of the building. The building consists of 3 levels and a basement, and the home is designed by Hanna Architects. This is a floor plan of the 3 stories showing the main floor, second floor, rooftop plan, and basement. And then lastly, this is a photo of the current site conditions, city lot for sale. And then for context, the houses are located on the west side of Lake Park Avenue. The project, again, has the support of Alderman Sophia King. The purchaser, we know that Alonzo Williams is in attendance today if there's any questions directly to him. So in summary, the Department of Planning and Development has thoroughly reviewed the proposed request for the sale of city property located at 3865 South Lake Park Avenue to Alonzo Williams to be improved as a single family residence. The department has reviewed public benefits and the project conforms with the redevelopment plan. The department recommends to the CDC, we recommend for the approval to City Council for the disposition of this property. And that concludes my presentation today, Chairman.
Thank you, Nelson. Nelson, do we have a letter of support from Alderman King? And is the Alderman or anyone from her office with us today?
I do not have a support letter in the staff report, but we recently met with Alderman King. She reiterated her support. I had contacted her scheduler today, and I believe her intent was actually to
just call her, explain the situation.
Actually, someone needs to go on mute. Nelson, are you with us?
I'm okay. Here, but right. Again, I don't have a support letter, but we have had numerous conversations with Alderman, and she, my understanding was that she was actually intending on to be here this afternoon.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for that update. Can DPD confirm that there were no written statements submitted for this meeting? And tech support, may I have the entire screen, please? And can the department confirm there were no written statements presented for this agenda item?
There were no written statements.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Bob. Given that there were no written statements submitted from the public on this item, we can now move to questions from the commissioners. Commissioners Nelson Chung is available to help answer your questions. He is also joined today by Alonzo Williams, the proposed purchaser of the property. Commissioner Curtis.
Yes, thank you. Excuse me. When I look up Alonzo Williams, is Mr. Williams employed by the city?
No, I am no longer employed by the city, sir.
Okay. I'm sorry. Could you introduce yourself, Mr. Williams, for the record?
Yes, thank you. Hi, I'm Alonzo Williams. I am a former Chicago Park District employee as well as a former City of Chicago employee, but I am no longer currently employed by either Parks or City of Chicago.
Thank you. My follow-up question, probably back to DPD. The price of $145,000 seems to be a very reasonable price for that piece of property. Can you tell me how that was valued?
For the record, Nelson Chung, Department of Planning. It was determined by an appraisal of the property. All of our land sales require city to obtain a appraisal through a pre-qualified city appraiser. They appraised the property and came back with that purchase price.
Thank you. That's all, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Curtis. Do other members of the commission have comments or questions? Commissioner Cox.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman. I just, Ms. Williams, I have had the, I guess, honor of following this project. I think it may be every month for the past 18 months as Alderman King has tried to help make this project happen. So I feel in part you are to be, I may owe you a bit of an apology as well as congratulations. One, the witnessing what it took to actually get a piece of property into a willing property owner's hand to do a fabulous house, to dig their roots deeper in Bronzeville was a big wake-up call. And, the city has thousands of properties. And it is witnessing what it took to get this property to happen that helped us rethink our entire approach to land sales. So we now have the Shy Block Builder. We have done market evaluations for thousands of properties. They are all now on the website. So someone like yourself who is looking to see how they could build on a site can go on a website and see a couple of thousand properties. And I will say it is watching the process of you trying to get this property is what made us realize we have got to do this a different way. So thank you for helping us. A lot of residents will thank you. They won't know that you were the one, but you know that your effort to build a beautiful middle-class house in Bronzeville helped change the system. So I'm thrilled. It's a very handsome design. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. You're just a stone's throw from the lakefront in a wonderful community that's adding more and more amenities. It's probably nice that you are ahead of the curve, and 145,000 sounds like a lot, but I guarantee you the people who will be buying the lots on your block 5 years from now will be paying a lot more, and it will largely because you set a bar, both in terms of the quality of the project you're putting on it, but also just your commitment to staying in Bronzeville. So thank you. I'm so glad we're at this moment.
So Mr. Williams, I believe that Commissioner Cox has given you the opportunity to respond. So, and I see you have your hand raised. So please, for the record, introduce yourself and make your comment.
Thank you. And Commissioner Cox stated that it's been an 18-month journey with him, but I will tell you,
sir, can you please, for the record, formally introduce yourself?
I'm sorry, I thought I did that before. Again,
no, you have to do that every time you speak.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes, the protocol. Sorry.
Alonzo Williams. I'm a community member who's literally been trying to buy this property for almost the last 8 to 7 years. So even though I know I've worked with Commissioner Cox for the last 18 months, but I go back to the alderman before Alderman King, Will Burns, trying to buy this property. It has been a 7 to 8 year journey trying to obtain this piece of property. So I am very thankful that we are at this point. My kids are enrolled in the schools right down the street. My past history of being an employee of the parks and others, I've spent a lot of time working in this community, and my family actually migrated my grandparents from the South to this community many moons ago. So it is a wonderful feeling for me and my family to be back. This will not just be a family home for me and my wife and kids, but also I will be moving in my mother-in-law as well as my mother and stepfather as well. So it'll be a family home as well. So I'm happy that we're at this point, and I look forward to the development of this entire community.
Thank you so much, Mr. Williams, for your comments. Commissioners, are there other questions that you have or comments that you'd like to make? Commissioner Gomez?
Madam Chair. Yes, Madam Chair. I just feel, just hearing the story, you know, Alonzo, you deserve a congratulations, and, you know, wish you all the best there. And glad to hear you stuck it through. Congratulations.
Thank you, Commissioner Gomez. Any other comments or questions from members of the commission? As a point of privilege, as chair, I'd just like to thank Mr. Williams for his perseverance and for your vision. It's residents like you that make the city of Chicago a great place to live. If there are no further questions or comments from members of the commission, I'd like to invite members of the public who have used the raise your hand feature to be recognized. Each person I call upon to speak will be limited to 3 minutes per agenda item. Kamal, can you let me know, have any members of the public raised their hand to speak on this item?
Sorry, no hands raised, Chairwoman.
Thank you. If there are no further questions or comments regarding agenda item D, we will now call the item to a vote. The resolution before us, the Department of Planning and Development is seeking authority to advertise its intention to enter into a negotiated sale with Mr. Alonzo Williams for the disposition of property located at 3865 South Lake Park Avenue in the Madden Wells Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project area, to request alternative proposals and to approve the sale of the property to Alonzo Williams if no responsive alternative proposals are received. Do I have a motion?
So move, Thomas.
Thank you, Commissioner Gomez. And thank you, Commissioner Gomez, for the second. In accordance with the Open Meetings Act, all votes are to be conducted by roll call so that each member's vote on each issue can be identified and recorded. Commissioners, please signify your vote on approval of the motion by saying yes, no, or abstain. Vice Chair Wheat, Secretary Chan McKibben.
Yes.
Commissioner Buford, Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Curtis.
Abstain.
Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Gomez.
Yes.
Commissioner Griggs. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
And Chair Butler votes yes. The motion passes. Commissioners, that was our last item on today's agenda. If there are no further comments, I would now like to request a motion to adjourn. Is anyone opposed?
No.
No one's opposed to adjourning? Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for your participation today. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye-bye.